Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Film Threat Watch Party. My name is Loren Kling. Thank you for joining us on a Friday evening. Tonight, we're going to be watching the incredible, really awesome movie, Howard's Mill. One of my favorites of the year here on the Film Threat Watch Parties. My wife and I both agreed that we really couldn't tell if it was an actual documentary or not. And I'm looking forward to talking to the filmmakers and the cast uh, about so many cool things, not only the cinematography, the acting, how creepy some of the locations were, but hopefully their favorite places to drink out in Nashville, because I think that's where they're all from. And they're also watching football and baseball games right now too. So hopefully you won't be as distracted as they are. And hopefully they're not going to give us play-by-play of what they're watching, but maybe we'll check in. Anyway, we're going to start the movie at about 15 minutes after the hour. It's 5 o'clock here in Los Angeles, 7 o'clock out in Nashville. Here's what's going to happen if you've never been on a Film Threat Watch Party before. You're going to stream or buy the movie and watch it on your own TV or your own device. It's called Howard's Mill. You can get it on Apple TV, Vudu, YouTube, Google Play, and a bunch more. You're going to not watch the free version. That one has commercials, and that's totally going to not work with us. So pay a few bucks, get the movie. I will do a countdown at about 15 minutes after the hour. We'll start the movie that way. It's playing in the background, and then we'll let our panelists chat, and then we can follow along. Before we get to those panelists, let me tell you about some of the things happening here on Film Threat. We've always got interviews, conversations, movie reviews. Our latest movie reviews are Halloween Kills. We've also got stories on the Fantasia Film Festival and an article on the found footage phenomenon. So I'm interested to talk about that with my guests. Also, we have articles like John Bristol and the warped humor and puppets of Elmwood Productions, and artist Kim Wan-ju on mentoring the next generation of animators. Coming up on the watch party on 11/09. I can't read my own writing. That looks like November 5th. We're going to be doing a Film Threat Watch Party for the documentary Brewmance, which is about the love of home beer brewing. Some of our past watch parties include the movie Film Fest, 1 Hour Out Call, Takeout Girl. Check back with us often. Subscribe on our YouTube page, and we'll let you know when we've got new projects coming up. All right, with that being said, let me bring on the writer, the director, and the producer of this film. Let me find them here in my lineup. Let's bring on, visiting from what looks like to be a dorm room or maybe an army barrack in an undisclosed location. Let's bring on Shannon. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you? It's actually it's my prison cell, so this is great. I get a little entertainment for me tonight, so. My cellmate's out for the evening, so I'm able to do this.
Great, and I love, just before we went live, all of your cast had to let you know how bad your lighting was.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. So you really can't do your work without a good DP, without a good cinematographer.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But this movie, we purposely, didn't. We're shake the camera as much as you can.
Yeah, who were actually who were running the cameras during this project?
Justin Hughes was the DP.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And the drone footage was incredible too.
Yeah. Paul Kane did the drone footage. Yeah. So.
Wonderful. All right. So from my research, I read that you were doing. Let me see if I can find this, because I was fascinated. See, now I can't find it, but I think it said that you were actually scouting for one movie and came up with an idea for another. I think that maybe was for O. Henry.
Yeah, that's Old Henry. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Were you scouting for this film when you came up with the idea?
No. This film, actually, I had a crazy dream one night. Like I had this dream where I have no idea why I had this dream where, like, saw these people in a field and they just got sucked into the earth. And I got up so I went through my day the next day, and then I was going to bed the next night, and I was like, man, I hope I don't have that messed up dream again tonight. And so I laid in bed instead of falling asleep. I started thinking like, oh, what's something we could do around this idea? It's like, this is something we could make. And I just kind of laid in bed and kind of came up with like the bones of it. And I actually got up the next morning and I started just kind of scouring the internet for pictures of people I saw as the characters, and put them on a jump drive, came to the office, printed out the pictures, literally made the names up just to have names, and called everybody, said, hey, meet me in the conference room at 11 o'clock. And everybody came in there and I pitched it. And I was like, this is Dwight Nixon and this is the story. And I kind of told the story to the people in the office that like it was a real story. And then people were like, oh, this is crazy. And then when I actually told them, no, I just made all that up, they argued with me that I had, as ridiculous as the story is, they argued with me that it was no, it must be real. And I'm like, no, it's not. And we actually carried this red folder. I had this red folder, so I would like go pitch it. We pitch it to different people. And originally we thought about like, oh, let's just take this out. This is a TV show. And I went and did a couple pitches with it. And I'm like, you know what? What's awesome about this is that if we can deliver it in a way where it feels like it's a doc and it feels like it's real, like it'll be a better audience experience going into it, even though we knew everybody's going to figure out. I mean, it's hard to do that in the age of the internet. So, but we just, so we just kind of said, you know what, we just got to do this ourselves and we got to just keep it quiet. And that's kind of what we did. And we actually originally shot as a TV show. Like we did a writer's room. We shot eight episodes. We self-financed and everything. And then we didn't sell it to anybody. So we're like, hey, let's recut this as a movie. And it actually works better as a movie because it doesn't have those dead and slow moments. And yeah, so that's where it came from.
Oh, wow. So you did shoot full 8, what was it, like 8 half-hour episodic?
Yeah. We let it, we didn't like, some of them were, 32, some of them were 40. We didn't time lock anything because we're like, okay, let's just tell the story. And then wherever we land with it, then we'll figure it out from there. And so that's what we did.
Wow. Now, I got to say, it's not just you're a guy who works in an office in Nashville and you came up with this idea and brought everybody in and told them you had this idea. You actually are the CEO and the president of a company who creates entertainment, TV, music, movies.
Right. Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, the mother company is a record label, Average Shows Entertainment, and then Hideout is, one of the subsidiaries of that. So.
Got it. That's awesome. All right. Well, just as a reminder, if you are just joining us, this is the Film Threat Watch Party for Howard's Mill. We're going to start the movie. I'll give you a little more time. So about 20 minutes after the hour. What you're going to do is you're going to rent the movie right now. You're going to go on YouTube. You're going to go on Apple TV. Let's see where else. Vudu, Google Play. You'll get the movie ready to go. Put it on pause. And then I will do a countdown in about 10 or 11 minutes. We'll start it at the same time on our own TVs, and then we'll continue the conversation here. That way, it's always in the background. So if you have any questions, go ahead and post those on our chat. If there's a scene you loved, or you want to know how a particular scene was set up, or how amazing one of the actors was, make sure they're here if you're going to say that. Go ahead and do that. My first comment is from my mom. Thank you.
That's always a good one to get.
Don't you wish everybody's mom could jump on and say that? So anyway, that's what you do. I actually had to hire my mom to say, as an example, just go ahead and post, so people know that if they post their questions and they're relevant to the conversation, or they're my mom, then I will post them. So if any of you on the panel have a parent or a sibling or a spouse and you want them to comment and tell you how good you are, let them know now. Give them the link to the YouTube live chat. Why don't we bring on our other guests? Would you do me a favor, Shannon, and introduce them as I bring them on?
That's Trevor O'Neill. He's one of our development guys at Hideout. He's also executive producer of Howard's Mill.
Wonderful. Next one.
That's Chris Connor, also one of the Hideout fellas. And he's, what are you on Howard Mill? Are you a producer on Howard's Mill?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes. Okay. We all do different things.
Let's see if you can do better with this guy right here.
That's Potsy. Potsy, what did you do on Howard's Mill?
You're the worst introduction of anybody. You're like,
I wasn't ready for that.
Here's the thing.
I'm in prison right now.
Shannon used to be a hype man. I've seen Shannon get on stage with Bubba Sparks and a few other bands, and he is a hype man. But once you put a camera on him, once you put a camera on him, he's miserable. Chris Connor is one of our very strong partners in Hideout. He helps us with all the state funding, Chris is an integral part of the company. Trevor is amazing. He's a producer. He can develop any show at the drop of a hat. Shannon is the owner.
I mean, I thought we already established. I thought we established everybody was awesome, Potsy. Like I didn't. Chris, you know you're awesome.
You just didn't do it. You didn't do a very nice job.
All right.
All right. Potsy, I'm Shannon's partner in Hideout, not in Average Joe's, but in Hideout. And I helped Shannon write this beast and produce it, and enjoyed all the moments.
Awesome. All right. So now that we've got the behind the scenes people out of the way, let's see how Shannon does with introducing the actors from his movie. Let's see if you know their names and what they did on the show. Here's our first one.
That's Justin, and he played Charlie. Yep. He was one of the filmmakers that was making the film. Yep.
All right. Next one.
Josephina. She played Kaiser, and for a while was the director of the movie.
Awesome. We have one more guest. Let's see how you do. Oh, two more. Sorry. Who's
Eric Williams? Who's producer on the movie. Yep.
Got it. Awesome. See, Eric, I thought you were an actor. You just have that kind of
don't give him a big head.
You will hear my voice in the movie. I do play a voice in this movie. So.
He's the voice of the.
And I was also a writer
when they're scuba diving.
Oh, nice. All right. And then last but not least, let's say hello.
That's Regis. He plays Dwight Nixon, who we all believe is actually guilty. He's always trying to blame on Wayne.
Welcome, everybody. I have to tell you how much my wife and I love this. And I think what I was most blown away by were how many people you had, the subjects, if you will, the townsfolk, who acted like they were this was an actual documentary. So I want to know, were they hired actors? Were they friends, family, neighbors? And how did you find so many wonderful people to help fill in this story?
Eric, I'm gonna let you take this one.
Sure. It was all the above. Go ahead, Eric.
We really lucked out. We found a coffee shop in Springfield
for food.
Every time we would go there to scout, we would stop in this coffee shop. And there was a woman named Jill Holman, if you remember Jill, guys, that she became almost a producer in her own right. Anytime Potsy would come to me and say, we got to find like 2 teenage guys today that we've got to talk to them about certain things, I'd hit her up. She knew everybody in town. So she also helped us get into the school when we talked to the school. And that coffee shop just became like our base, and she knew everybody. So, and we also grabbed a lot of people off the street and just threw them in there.
We had the real fire chief, the lady that worked I guess the plot
museum,
plots and stuff.
Museum.
They were all real people that lived in the town, and so when we were doing the filming, we would ask them questions that were similar to what we wanted the answer from. So we didn't always ask them the right question. We asked them kind of leading questions to give us an answer, like tell us about somebody weird in your town, and they would start telling them. We would make that about Wayne. Somebody has their volume up because all I hear is my voice repeating.
I hear it too. Sounds good. It makes you sound bigger than life.
I hate the sound of my own voice.
I do want to mention Dee Butler, who was our location manager. We had shot a lot of stuff in Springfield throughout the years. Still the King, the show we did for CMT, we'd done a lot of stuff out there. So Dee connected us with a lot of people in the town as well. It was super helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, when you film it in a town like that, I'm assuming either you have a lot of blowback, or what I'm finding with a lot of independent films is a town full of people who really love what you're doing, are excited to see production going on. Did you find the former or the latter in Springfield?
Look, we had shot a lot in Springfield already, but particularly on this because they knew that we were going to tell this story that was, could paint the town a little bit spooky. We went and met with the Chamber of Commerce, and they really leaned in. Who went to that meeting? Chris, you were there.
Yeah, it was all the sort of leaders of the community, and we went to them and just presented, and we also told them about other movies that have been done this way, like Blair Witch and other projects where it's going to be presented initially to the public as if it's, a factual, real documentary, but after the fact, it'll be sort of, we'll tip our hat and let everybody know that it's not. But we want to use real people. We want to use real locations. And again, like Eric said, we had been there and had a good, we sort of represented ourselves well, I think, in the community with the other projects that we had done. People, were hired, made money, vendors made money. And so they were open to having us.
Very cool. For Josephina and Justin, you two play film students. What school are you film students at?
We're at Belmont University. Or is it Belmont College?
Is that what we? Is
University.
That what
it's Belmont University.
Yeah.
You don't even
Hey,
know
Belmont has a great film department,
Yeah.
It does.
Did you guys do any more background on your own as to these film students? I didn't really think you needed to because we didn't see any history or you at school putting this together, but I'm curious if either of you were like, what's their GPA? Where do they hang out? Did you go that deep?
I mean, yeah, I think as an actor, you always want to do your homework on your character and their backstory. So it's definitely something that I did. I was like, all right, what's her family like? What's her upbringing? Is she a good student? Is she a bad student? What drives her? I think she's definitely someone that loves true crime. That's pretty much why she is doing what she's doing. But yeah, I definitely did. And I'm sure Justin and Regis did the same.
Yeah, and then I mean, Josephina and I, we were there every time when we had to shoot the film. So and then just like that kind of like the backstory of our relationship too, and the kind of like friendship we have fed into each moment, and some of the creepy stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And then Regis, for you, you've done a lot of work. You've done Smoketown, Vampire Diaries, Nashville, Army Wives, One Tree Hill, a lot of cool shows that we've grown up with. What is it like to do an independent film versus the hustle of a episodic show?
I think the biggest thing is going back to what Josephina and Justin said. You get a chance kind of to break things down, to create a backstory. Who is the person? Where do they come from? I even get to the point where I'm trying to figure out, okay, what does he eat? What makes what motivates him? Does he have two parents? Is he from a single parent household? I kind of build all these things in my mind. So in episodic television, the pace is so fast. So you take what's on that page and you kind of add what you can. But I think in something like this, you have a little bit more meat, so you get a chance to kind of just build and build and build. And I'm kind of I'm one of those kind of method actors anyway, so I kind of like to do that and emulate little things and watch people. And so I have a couple of friends and fraternity brothers that are policemen, and so I ask them some questions and stuff like that as well.
Now, were you known as Dwight during the whole production? Did you ask everyone to call you Dwight? Is that how method you are, or not that method?
You know what? I love that, but I didn't do it because I didn't want to be weird. Yeah, but no, in my own mind, I was Dwight, though. Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's start the movie. So hopefully you guys have had time to jump online to get the movie ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a 3-second countdown. We'll press play. Don't worry if you're still fumbling around, if you're looking for the remote, if your VCR is still flashing 12, you are beyond help. And just follow along and we'll catch you up. So just get ready to play, and I can always give you the time code later on if you're jumping in late. So I'll give a 3-second countdown. 3, 2, 1, and press play. And that's it. Didn't hurt. We see the birds chirping and the air whooshing, and we're seeing some of the credits come up. I'm going to turn my audio, the movie audio, down just so we don't have 8 or 9 different movies playing all offset by a little bit. So good. Do at least 45 or 50% of you have the movie playing? Good. All right. Wonderful. And does everybody have their football and or baseball game running as well? Who needs to have that going?
Trevor, you just give us score updates. I don't have it on.
You know what, Trevor? That's gonna. All right, Trevor. Who are you watching right now?
Red Sox, bases loaded, top of the first, and Astros just got out of it. No runs.
Wonderful. You know how old news that's going to be after this watch party? This is going to be an evergreen watch party, and we're always going to know about this one particular game.
Put you in a time and place.
Wonderful. Thank you. So I love the premise. Shannon, do you want to give me the premise? As I understand it, the 2 film students are doing a documentary about Regis's character Dwight and him supposedly killing his wife. So talk us through this idea of they start a documentary, but then more things happen and it kind of becomes something bigger.
Yeah, we had the original idea, and then we were just kind of like, okay, how do we deliver it? And so the idea was basically that they heard about they heard about Dwight and his missing wife, and they were doing a film project. So they said, okay, we're just going to interview this guy, and it's going to be a one-off thing for school. And then they got into it, and it was like, this is pretty interesting. And they kind of just kept going, and it turned into a bigger and bigger and bigger thing. So, and that's where everything gets rolling from there.
Got it. Now, did anybody do any research on any other kind of movie or TV show, either for inspiration or preparation for this?
Potsy, did we really talk about, we talked about it from a marketing standpoint, like how we were going to do it.
Yeah, I think
that stuff.
This was doing a fake doc is kind of tough because you don't know how much to give and how to, you just know you have to make it look real and make it feel real. But I remember, we were kind of, Eric Williams, he was in the writer's room as well. And in breaking down, trying to make this into an 8-episode series at first was tricky. And there were times where we'd be sitting there going, all right, well, what's the end? What's our answers? We need to know what the answers are so that we can get to that point and leave those gaps in the story. But it's tough to kind of make up the whole thing because you have to really go to the end first, which is kind of tricky.
I do remember that American Vandal had just come out at this time.
Yes,
and we were watching a lot of that, the comedy thing, and we did reference that a bit, even though it's totally completely different. They really nailed the fake documentary so well.
Yeah. I think it came out like 2 days before we started shooting, so we were already deep into it, but we hadn't, and so we actually watched it while we were going.
I want to interrupt everybody because getting Regis to point to this hillside in the right spot was impossible. It's coming up here when Regis
over here.
When you point to the hill, we're like over there. We're like just like say way over there, and he's. I just remember going back and forth on how far to point to the horizon. It's coming up here in a minute, but there's a few of those moments where we give you a little behind the scenes. Here it comes. And
in my mind, it was on the other side.
Right.
Yeah, I remember us shooting how we were trying to figure out how we were going to do this, and we set up the cameras because we wanted to be able to cut. So we shot the wide, and then we just were able to just kind of push in on it. But when we went and did the graphics later, we were having that conversation forever about like, did the graphics zoom in on the graphics? How do we do that?
One of the nice things about Eric being a producer and a writer for those of us that were in the production office was that he could come out every day and sort of translate what we were going to probably be up against as far as like resources and things like that. Because normally, you know, the producers don't always get that information. It's a trickle. I mean, you know, like on the other shows and things we've worked on, we would get that from Potsy as we went, but it was nice for him to be doing both of those roles because he could immediately go, we're going to need this. You know, he would tell myself or Julie Lighty and other people that were in the production office. And it was nice because we could kind of sort of build up those resources as we got closer, and it wasn't hard to find everything, you know, as hard to find everything.
I think what Connor, you just said was Eric does a better job than me.
That is not what I meant.
Exactly what he said.
But yes, that is exactly
That's what it sounded like.
I didn't have to direct the picture. I just had to find like scuba divers and
right.
people like
Which we
that.
had
But
the
we had a
real-
lot
the
of lead up
Williamson-
because we knew it was coming. You're right, Chris.
They were the actual Williamson County dive. Like they were the guys that actually go look for bodies if you have a missing person. So
And also-
that's a case where they were real life people, not actors.
Regas, I think is your family watching with you? Aren't they in the movie too?
His mom and dad.
They are actually here. They're
Yeah, they're in the movie.
Woo! Welcome, Mom and Dad.
Hello.
Dad's over here.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome. So I just want to point out we're just over 6.5 minutes in, and Justin has been on camera on this watch party about 3 times as long as we saw him in the movie.
Yeah, that was the trick, though. It was because he was holding the camera the whole time. So we would try to come up with ways that we would get him on camera. So obviously the first time you see him is like one of the earlier scenes, and he's wiping off the lens. Or then he would climb in a hole, and they would hand the camera down to him. It was like, and I think he had to climb into the room that they found too. And it's like every time it's like, oh, who's going to climb in the hole? Well, Charlie will climb in the hole. And so Justin had to do all that stuff. And that's how we got him on. We just had to figure out a way to explain him being there.
So
Oh,
I'm
by the
basically
way-
also a stuntman and also you know, the actor, basically.
I didn't climb in that hole. I can tell you that. It was
Yeah.
just Potsy and Justin and Josephina. I think she got in there too.
I mean, that was hard for me to get in there because I used to live in a house that was infested
Oh,
by
look.
recluses. And I thought that there was going to be spiders, and I don't like spiders.
Can you talk about the different because this is a found footage over 30, 40 years. So we've got old photographs, new photographs, like VHS camcorders. Were these all done in post, or did you use any old photos? Hey, is that your parents? Did I just see?
Yep. They were up there. Yep. I mean, some of them were supplied, like Emily's we had real stuff from camcorder stuff. I mean, Eric, you can probably speak on that better because
we use 4K cameras for everything, but like that stuff there with Dwight and Emily, we just gave them an iPhone and had them shoot stuff while we kind of coached them through it. So there's a lot of iPhone footage. Some of the stuff we actually got from the actress who played Emily's mom. You know, we got some real home footage, but a lot of it were shot in 4K cameras, and I think we did some post work on them when we needed them to be. I feel like we did. I mean, Potsy, when we did like when the little girl disappears,
that was actually an old 8mm.
That was an old camera,
mini DV camera,
high 8 or something. Yeah. So we did incorporate those a little bit when we could.
Yeah, and that ended up being our like go back to shot because that shot came out so well.
Getting her to fall down on that hill, so we had when you see her fall, there's blankets right over the hill, and it's like, all right, here's a girl that's was she 8 or 9 years old? And it's like run up this hill and fall down, and you're worried. How is she going to fall? She's not a stuntman. She's not, but she
and even if she's going to fall the right way, because we need her to go straight down where it felt like she went into the ground.
Yeah, she did fantastic. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, she was awesome.
And so a little behind the scenes, Kaiser and Charlie, who are our stars, those are actually the names of my daughters, Kaiser and Charlie. So we kind of worked that into the script.
Very cool. Now, were some of these people like the guy with the beard and the hat in the back? Is he a local? The woman who runs the museum, was she local? Is this an actual museum?
She's a real person, and she was amazing as well. It's funny. Like what we realized was that that's
the coffee shop that we stayed in. Sorry, Sword Perk. That was our base camp. Sorry, go ahead, Shannon.
Yeah, what we realized was that you can, first going into it, we were like, okay, we have to cast actors that haven't been in a lot of stuff, but are really good actors, And so, and then what we also realized as we got to filming was when you put real people next to actors, like sometimes the acting comes off as acting, right? Because the real people are just so authentic because they're just being themselves. So, we had to find, that we had to make sure that we were, that everything kind of matched up. And there are parts where where you'll see a real person and then you'll see somebody acting and they're doing a great job acting. It's just that the realness of the other,
we actually we reshot that scene. We had the neighbor couple. We shot it with two different people. And
the Moody's, we shot it one day.
Once we watched it back, we were like, that feels like actors, but it is because, like you're saying, everyone, all the people felt so authentic.
This guy,
he's a real guy. Yeah,
real guy, and his wife was real helpful too. And we shot at their house, and they let us in the house, and they were awesome. They still.
I want to go back and make just put all those Dwight shots, just looking awesome in a field to some really nice music, and make you that for Christmas. That'll be my Christmas gift to you, Regis.
Well, I can't not look at Regis the way he points now and not think that Potsy had
to. Yeah, Regis also likes to touch everything in the scene.
Oh yeah. It's a feel thing.
It's like, look at that mantle. Yeah, it's a. Okay, all right.
Unfortunately, one of our guests on the panel tonight has to leave a little bit early. Josephina, thank you for popping in, for spending a few minutes with us.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. And
Josephina, before you go, you gotta tell a story. You gotta tell something.
Well, I just beat Zelda the other day. I'm a huge gamer. I love Breath of the Wild.
That's impressive.
And,
that's a hard game.
And I started actually replaying it the other day because I was having I don't know. I was really missing it. So I just restarted it. It's been great. But that's my fun fact, fun story. Love Zelda.
Josephina, what was your very first console system?
The Nintendo one, I would say. It was before Nintendo 64. It was the other one.
The NES?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Now we have a spot, so somebody's got to take her place. So start making calls to the other actors. Bye, Josephina. Thank you.
Bye.
I believe Jeremy Childs is going to pop in at some point.
Really great.
So
awesome.
If you want to hit up Jesse James, Eric Williams,
sure,
or whoever else.
Same.
Oh God, these credits, these title sequences, I remember just with Shannon and just poring over like, how do you word these? There were so many different versions of those.
Oh, I remember one time we came in and all the fonts had changed and we freaked out. Like,
okay, so Blair Witch, this is a real story. This stuff is terrifying. So we went out to this farm. Ken Allen, they own the property where the Bell Witch happens. Bell Witch.
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
It's a real thing, and it's terrifying. So we just tried to incorporate when this thing was an 8-part series. There was a whole episode on, could this have been the Bell Witch? But we kind of lost a little bit of that in the film version of it. But it was. Just terrifying being out there. It's like you don't want to bring any of that home.
Got it. Another thing that I find fascinating, and our film threat reviewer Alan Ng made the comment: the music and the sound effects were phenomenal in the field. So, who created that?
We were just Jared Shulo, who's one of the producers that works with us, been working with us for the label forever. he did the majority of it, and then we were just filling it in as we went with just other stuff that we were just either putting together or getting from like other instrumental music or whatever. Like we'd find places and we would just refill it with, you know, with something that we felt like needed to be there, because we had the original score was to the show, and then we had to, because we sat the thing down for probably a year after we had finished it as a show. And then the pandemic hit. And then when we came back, in July, Potsy last year, and just went in and we were actually prepping for Old Henry while we were editing. So he and I would come in every day, just he and I in the editing room, work on Howard's Mill, and just we were casting Old Henry at the same time. So it was just like that was our office, was the editing room for about 3 or 4 months. And just trying to get this back into shape without a script. So we're not like, it's not like you can do an assembly because you have a script. We were just trying to figure it out. So we would sit there with, you know, a book this big of 8, you know, episode scripts going like, what happened? Did we? And then flip around and then hope that we actually shot that. And
well, and we'd forgotten. I mean, half of it was hard to remember. You know, it was like, all right, what episode was the cave stuff, and having to go back and try to find that was pretty
flipping
tough.
Through pages. Yeah.
So did you film in script by script, or did you kind of do multiple scripts per location?
I mean, we shot out of order, but
Cross-border.
if you go back and look at the scripts, almost everything they say was scripted. It's pretty crazy how close to the script everything came out.
But we block shot 8 episodes. So we didn't. Okay. So if we were at a location, we shot that location out, and while we're there, and because if you look at, like, we wrote it, and you can't really see it as much in the movie version, but you know, we wrote it, and so we're in an interview, and we're planning you to see a piece of this interview in episode 4 or episode 6. So we wrote it like that, where it's going to, so now we're sitting in an interview. We know that one interview is going to pop up in these different places, and we're going to reuse that piece. So we had to plan all that out. But then, like I said, once we got what Potsy was saying, once we got to do it as a movie, we had all that planning we had done in our head and everything. Like, we had completely had to start over and refigure out what we had and what we didn't have.
But just think about like all that like footage you have, you know, like to be able to create this. And I mean, I remember when we were shooting this, like 8 episodes, all of the scripts were, you know, we had, and then, you know, and on one of the days it'd be like, all right, we're doing episode 3 and 5 and you know, 6, whatever scenes. And but then even for, you know, like for Regis, Josephina and I, you know, we have all this material to work with and just really sink our teeth into, you know, with every shoot, with every take. But the thing was that, like, as Potsy said, I mean, it was scripted, but at the same time, they allowed us, like, you all allowed us to ad-lib, you know, here and there, and just like really flesh it out and just make it our own too, instead of, you know, being the actory, you know, kind of performances.
Yeah, no doubt. We want everything to feel real. It just showed there was a couple shots a minute ago where there's just a cars driving, and Potsy and I would just roll our.
I think everyone did. Everyone on the way into work would just hold their phone out the window, because the drive into work every day from Nashville to Springfield is beautiful. So I think everyone kind of shot stuff along the way to work. And
there's somebody who's talking about Wayne is the guy in town that picks up the roadkill. Well, Potsy and I we rode in together that one day, and there was a dead bird and some buzzards eating in the middle of the road. So we actually stopped in the middle of the road, got out of the car, and shot that with our iPhone. And so, and that was the great thing about this. You know, we were shooting in 4K on Blackmagics, but you know, because it was such mixed media for the sake of it being a documentary, you know, we could pick stuff up just at home or whatever that we might need to use later.
That's the coffee shop we're interviewing. I'm going to point out the coffee shop every time.
Okay. Coffee shop.
Historic Perk.
I thought this guy was Morrissey, or this picture. I'm like, wait, what's Morrissey doing in this?
Let me just say that let me just say why this coffee shop is so important. Because like what Justin was saying, is like
I feel like you love this coffee shop.
We had to change clothes multiple times throughout the days. Well, we didn't have any money for trailers or even a place out there. We're shooting 30, 40 minutes away from Nashville. This coffee shop let us take over it. We would change clothes there. We would do hair and makeup there.
We were in the offices upstairs.
The basement, where they find the thing later. No spoilers, but that was in the basement of this coffee shop. So, I mean, I can't tell you enough of how it saved my ass as a line producer all the time.
Yeah.
Constantly. So that's why I keep pointing it.
Yeah, because that's right. Because the coffee shop's obviously in Springfield. We did a lot in Springfield, but the actual outdoor Howard's Mill house which Springfield's north of Nashville, was about half an hour drive for us north. We actually shot a half an hour south, was the outside of the house. So when you see them go into the basement, we had kind of built that fake bookshelf. We just put it over actual open door. So they find it, which really was a closet. So they walk into the closet, and then we went around the back of the house, and they had this area that walked down to the crawl space. You couldn't really go but about 4 steps, and we filmed them walking those 4 steps. But then when they actually got down to the bottom, it was all the way back in Springfield underneath the coffee shop. So it was just multiple places cut together to make you feel like, oh, they went down the stairs and look what's below here. So. Yeah, the coffee shop was great for multiple reasons.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many wonderful things that make up the individual things that make up a film or a project: music, acting, writing, blocking, prepping, and then the coffee shop can turn into something wonderful and something you want to watch over and over again.
That whole community, Springfield's amazing. I mean, we've been going there for years doing different projects, and every single time they're as accommodating as you could possibly want them to be. I mean,
I think sometimes every time we start a project, we go, "Is this something we can shoot in Springfield?" Because everybody joke, right?
We joke that it's our backlot because they really are that. I mean, it's the perfect small town. Do we have any questions from anybody have anything good or bad to say?
it's quiet on the comments front, but again, these are evergreens, so it all depends on where people are. So if my mom's watching and she wants to post a question, Regis, do your parents have any questions for you? Maybe something they've always wanted to know about this movie.
My dad is like, no questions here.
Regis, what have you been doing? I haven't seen you in forever. What have you been doing?
Oh, well, doing the same thing. Just the acting and kind of just prepping and pushing.
Prepping and pushing.
Prepping and pushing. But I hate to talk about other projects. So I'm working on a project though.
Oh, that's all right.
I do have some things coming. I have a movie coming up on Lifetime that'll be out November 26th. With John Snyder and Reba McEntire, so that's coming up.
Nice. Where's that? Oh, the string board. That was something that was difficult to keep up with where we were on the string board at what time. I think that was because we had to build as we go. So
we kept adding to it the whole time, and then we're like, wait a minute, where are we? Okay, they don't have this picture yet. That was super confusing, and we had problems with that too when we were cutting too, Potsy.
Yeah, to go back and
all the timeline stuff. We're like, wait a minute, we didn't give that, and so I see so and so back on the board. We've got to get rid of that.
By the way, Paul King killed those. Those aerial shots.
Yeah, Paul's great.
No, Ed Pryor did a few of those too. He did that opening one with the birds.
Yeah, with the storm, with the this.
Oh, he did that one right there. Yeah,
this one right here. Yeah,
Ed shot.
That's right. Ed Pryor.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, top to bottom, it was a great group of people.
I love it.
It really was.
Yeah. And look, I don't know if Jeremy's going to join us, so we'll go ahead and say it now.
I'm going to text him right now.
Okay. I remember, so Jeremy's been in a lot of our stuff. He was in Super Zeros. He was in the original Still the King pilot. I mean, pretty much everything we've done, we put Jeremy in. but we had decided like Jeremy can't be in Howard's Mill because he had I think he'd just done Preacher, and
he has a sizable role in Preacher. I mean, he's at a convention this weekend for Preacher, so that's how noticeable he is.
Yeah, and so we were like, well, okay, well, we just decided to just know Jeremy in Howard's Mill because somebody may recognize him. And but it just kept bugging us because we kept going back to the Wayne character. We're like, it's Jeremy. It just felt like it was Jeremy. So I think we brought him in and we met with him, right, Potsy, and we were just like, hey, I think we talked it out with him on whether he should even do it. And
I think at the end of the day, though, he's so good that we just
could not put him in there, and he delivered.
He really did. He's one of my favorite. He's been in everything he's done. So
this is Moody's is the gentleman's an actor, and the woman is a real person.
But we had an actress.
We stole her out of the
coffee shop,
the thrift shop.
Oh, out of the shop.
We went to the thrift shop, and she was
the thrift shop next door. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was the thing we reshot.
Yeah.
Oh, got it. Yeah, I kept looking at all of the characters, wondering, wait a minute, is that an actor? And I said, no, the Moody's are just an old married couple that have known each other forever.
He was an actor. She was authentic. It was pretty crazy.
But like Potsy said earlier, we had an actress cast, and it just felt like too much like acting. Yeah. And I mean, we had a limited amount of time, so going back and reshooting was like, we don't want to have to do that. But we had met her, and she was so good. It just felt real. And so Potsy, you had to talk me into it. I remember, because I was like, I don't want to go backwards. And you're like, we got to do this. And then Eric figured out how we could make the time. And
that's Eric's superpower. If Eric ever had one.
What's my superpower? I wasn't listening.
He's very good at getting a lunchtime meeting of, hey, we want to add this. And he's like, oh my God. he's Chris Farley when he's crashing the truck on the counter. He's like, this sucks. And then 2 seconds later he'll figure it out and everything works out. So I'm gonna crash into a GD.
Now I don't crash the truck anymore. I just go, cool, let's figure it out.
I'm out here.
20 years of doing it. You don't crash the truck anymore. You just go, yeah, all right.
Yeah, he'll pull you off to the side though, and he'll say, hey, Shannon, Potsy. So clearly you guys don't know what you're doing. But I'll figure it out.
Do you remember on Still the King when Potsy wanted to move that episode on a cruise ship? And we all were like, no, absolutely not. Will we be moving this onto a cruise ship? It would
have been perfect. It would have been a contained.
No, but you got to stop Potsy on everything. Like Potsy figures out where he wants to go. Like all your Billy Currington videos back in the day.
Travel. You got to travel.
All of them were on islands. So you just write a treatment. I guess that's how you get the video. Like if you're pitching somebody for a video and you go, hey, we're going to go to a tropical island and shoot, they're going to pick your video because they want to go to the island.
They want to go to islands.
The producers want
to go to islands.
Everyone wants to go.
It's a really good tactic.
Everybody but the production office wants to go on the cruise ship.
When I was doing music videos, there was a year and a half where I went to Bahamas or the Caribbean easily 6 times. I think I went to Mexico twice, Caribbean 6 times in 1 year. It was ridiculous.
Country music's dime.
But now there's no like Caribbean country music artist.
No,
I should get back into
the budget.
Somebody needs it. My chair keeps going down, so if you see me, I'll be here.
Slowly just sinking in. Like Johnny English.
Yeah, exactly. I have no hydraulic in this chair.
Now, is it right? Go ahead.
I was saying that's the real principle for the school.
But I can save that for another time.
What's that? I didn't hear it.
I was going to talk about when saying no to Potsy on things and when flipping
let's do this. Let's do this. This is the time.
Yeah, but you got to admit when having someone like Rocky around makes flipping the bread truck even possible, really. But yeah.
Well, when we did it on the pilot, we went Shannon and I on Still the King pilot. We went over and over. He wanted the bread truck on the side. Billy Ray Cyrus.
He had to be on the side. Yeah. He had to crawl over.
On the side. So I said, here's how much it costs to flip a bread truck on the side because you got to do it with a crane and flip it over safely. And Shannon and Potsy said we can either flip the bread truck or we can have a camera on a crane. We can't have both. And I said, you guys decided. They picked the camera on the crane. So we get there on the day, bread truck's sitting there, and Potsy goes up to David Tinsley, who supplies us a lot of picture cars. I think he gave us that truck that we're seeing right now. But he said, David, is there a way to flip the bread truck right now? Can he use the lift?
So here's what we work in, the surrounding areas have a lot of, it's the country, and it's full of guys that know how to get things done for very cheap. So it's like, hey, can you flip this over? And these guys with this tow truck were like, yeah, we can flip this over.
The way that thing, did like this to unload the truck, whatever you call that thing. He said, can it go the other way and just flip the truck over? And they were like, yeah, we could. And I said, I don't think we should do this. It's a bad idea. And I said,
you were so mad about it.
The truck. And then we did it, and it sparked on the gas tank.
It sparked. So I remember Eric and I just standing there. And I think it was $800 was what it was going to cost. He was going to charge us to flip it because we put down some old tires.
If we had done it correctly, it would have charged $800. These guys would do it for nothing.
Yeah, I think Connor and Eric, your entire careers have been spent talking me off of killing.
That's right.
Well, the thing
That's
what
right.
I wanted to say, the reason about the bread truck, this happened very early in our careers. And after it, I said, hey, do me a favor. From now on, we do it the right way or nothing. And you agreed. And I think that moment actually helped down the line.
We did it the right way. We do things
the right way. It helped.
When you tell me no, it's dangerous, I don't do it.
It was better with it on its side. I mean, what are you going to do?
I did rear a horse up. You told me not to do that.
On Old Henry?
I got the stuntman showed me how to make a horse go up on two legs and.
Oh, you did it on the horse, not on camera. Yeah, I did say no.
That's...
Did it anyway. What are you gonna do?
I kind of want to know if Justin or Regis have ever had to face where a director's like, just get in the back of a bread truck. It's not going anywhere. It's totally not going to be flipped.
Trying to get Regis in the cave. We had to rewrite the cave. Regis would not go in the cave. So I was like, all right, I'll take Regis. Mike goes in this way.
Look, to my defense, I was like, Shannon, I'll start having nightmares about it. I was like,
this cave was a hole in the ground where Potsy used to walk with his kids, and he was like,
I found it. I'd only been there the weekend before. You
hear cave, you picture like something you walk into. It's just straight down into the
cave
ground.
is a generous word.
Yeah,
it's a hole in the ground. Is
like hole in the ground. Rocky hole in the ground.
No, but Justin, it was easy to get down and up. It was nice, right?
I think it was easy to get down.
And also, if we could get Josephina to say cave in, she kept saying cave in, and I don't think she knew the word cave in, but it was you'll hear it in a minute, and it's like every time it was like there's a cave in, and she thought I think she thought we meant like
a cave in,
the inn to a cave. I don't know, but it was like no cave in. It's like cave in. It's just like so it's in there still.
Yeah, we actually had to rework the scene because they were supposed to all go there. So then Regis and I just went off a different way. Like Dwight went this way, and Charlie and Kaiser went this way.
Does budgeting for an 8-episode series, is it vastly different than if you were going to budget for a feature film like this turned out?
Yes. But the truth is at the end, when you have all that footage, cutting the best parts into the feature, it's actually a luxury at that point. Normally you would never get that, even if you shot 3-4 to 1 or whatever, and you had a lot of footage, you're never going to have the amount of footage that we had. For this.
And in a way, we did actually budget because we cross-boarded everything. We did kind of treat it as a long feature, and we hired 2 editors that were started right away, and they cut the entire time that we were going.
We had 3 editors.
We had 3 editors. Yeah, Owen came aboard too.
Wow.
Yeah,
and they're all excellent. Yeah,
they were just great people and good friends too. So. But it was, we did just kind of decide how many days are we going to shoot this thing for 8 episodes, and that was what the budget was, and then we just did it straight through. So,
And the bonus there too was being able to not use things that there were a lot of things that didn't work once we shot them, and they kind of felt fake, and it was really nice to be able to cut those out.
Right. Yeah.
Another thing about the budget too is when Potsy or Shannon would come to us and want to, Eric and I, our job is easier on all these projects that we've all done together because we typically use a lot of the same talent, a lot of the same cast, a lot of the same crew. We have a shorthand, and we actually can really tell at this point, especially by the time Howard's Mill happened, what's possible.
Yeah.
When they come to us and say, okay, we want to push it this much further and try to get this much more out of the scene, we know what's really possible and how, and we also know them well enough to know what they're going to get out of it and how long it's going to take. So,
well, this was a weird experience because you remember a week or so in, we started having 6-8 hour days because we were so used to Still the King, which was, you have to shoot all the angles and there's a huge crew and you're moving slow. And this was like, it's documentary style, so it's one angle and you're taking the whole scene in. And so we were just churning through scenes.
Oh yeah, the original
was taking 8 hours a day.
Yeah, Joe May's original schedule was 40 days, and then we had it down to 26 before we shot, right? And then we ended up only shooting like 19 days or something. Like we got to the point where we knew that we couldn't cut days because the crew would kill us, so we would come in and we would shoot till noon and leave.
Yeah, it was a great time.
Yeah.
Compared to how hard the Old Henry and like Still the King, and how many hours you work, and this was a really good time. 8 hour days. Potsy got to see his kids a lot, which was cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but Still the King and Old Henry, we would shoot, and it was freezing.
Yeah,
and this one when did we shoot this one? It was
October,
fall,
November.
It was November or something.
Yeah, that's right. No, it was October, or no, I think it was September and October. But it wasn't bad weather at all. But
yeah, there's still leaves on the trees in a lot of these.
Yeah,
I'm curious about. I'm curious because Trevor, don't you have a non-scripted background?
I do.
And so I'm curious what you thought of all these crazy episodic scripted guys were doing. If what you might have brought in from your background and your experience in non-scripted into this mix.
Well, I haven't done a lot of like reality, these like follow docs, but the couple that I have worked on, it's not much different than this. Like you're not literally scripting it, but you're essentially storyboarding the episode and you're just telling the characters, here's what I want to get out of this scene. Put it in your own words. And then sometimes if they're not getting it, you literally just say, repeat after me, like do this. So it's not a lot different,
Well, Trevor, speak to when we tried to go sell this thing as a 8-part series, all the trouble we had because
so in the TV pitch, so in the TV world, you pitch. There's different executives. There's scripted executives, and there's unscripted executives. And so when we went to pitch this, we were pitching it to scripted executives, and the pitch I think was confusing a lot of them, where they're like, "Oh, I think you should be pitching the people down the hall." Like this is you need to be going to the unscripted people, and then so. Because when we originally pitched it, we pitched it as if it was real.
Got it.
We were trying to create the same feeling that we were trying to get out of the movie with the execs, but it was tough because you already kind of tipped your hand by the fact you went in with the scripted people, and that made it tough. Plus, you're selling a finished product, which in TV, to a development person whose job is to develop, and we just took their job kind of out of their hands. So it did put a lot of people, and that's what we didn't realize going into it. Like it put a lot of people in kind of a lose-lose situation, because if it did great, well, they didn't make it, they didn't develop it. If it did bad, then they're the ones who bought it from us. So it made it different, and we realized that early on. Like it didn't matter what we had shot or what we had made. It wouldn't have been a situation we wouldn't have sold it regardless. And look, the TV show in nowhere is near as good as what the movie is, just because we were able to get all that fluff out, you know. And I mean, you watch all these miniseries now today, and you know, by episode 7, you're kind of getting a few throwaway episodes, and then it picks back up before the climax. You see that a lot on great shows, and so we had a lot of that, and we just the movie version allowed us to get rid of that and just kind of get to the point. We actually had to figure out, you know, how to get everything in with the movie versus, you know, filling space with the TV show. I will say something too. So when Trevor started at Hideout, we had known him for a long time, and we had done Still the King, which we shot that. We self-funded and shot that original pilot, and then went and sold it. And we kind of got lucky because, you know, selling any kind of idea is needle in a haystack, right? And so even when Trevor came in, he was like, I can't believe you guys, you know, shot your own pilot. It's ridiculous. You should develop on paper and go pitch. And I said, you know, you're right. I will never do that again. And he goes, all right, what are you doing next? We're going to shoot our entire season of TV. And I did an idiotic thing and got lucky. And now we're going to do an even more idiotic thing.
This guy here, Jim, the guy playing the historian, that's actually my stepfather, and I just want to say he passed away last year, and he never got into this, but
sorry to hear that.
It was really great. He was an actor his whole life. He was also a set designer and a construction foreman. He did The Abyss. He did Under Siege. He did all of these huge movies, Andersonville. But he got back into acting later, and it was great that we were able to have. He came and he stayed with me when we shot this stuff, and he lived in Atlanta. And it's just really cool that he got to be in this. Unfortunately, he never got to see the final product, but I just wanted to point that out. A really cool guy. His name's John Courtney.
Yeah, and he was amazing in it too. Like, he would do all this history stuff, and he knew it, and you believe him. Like,
he did really, really great. Yeah, great.
Katie wants to know the name of the coffee shop, just in case you guys didn't mention it already.
Oh, Katie.
Central Perk.
It's called Historic Perk, actually.
Historic Perk. Central Perk.
You know, that reminds me of a story about the coffee. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, Katie's right here too, by the way. That was a plant.
You gave away the magic behind the scenes.
We'll get some more Historic Perk stuff in when we get to that basement.
We want to hear more from Katie, so please send in your additional questions, things nobody can answer, especially Eric. Do we need to check in with Travis to get an update on the score?
Are you talking me, Trevor?
Oh, yeah, Trevor. Travis O'Neill.
Yeah.
Or sorry, Trevor.
Was that Amber there?
Yes, it is.
Amber.
Second, Houston has the bases loaded, and they're up 1-0.
Oh, that sucks.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
I thought there was no.
So this house that you're in right now, was it in this condition? And is this on the property?
We messed it up a good amount.
It was just empty. Yeah.
That's why you'll see the spray paint is all on plastic sheet bags, because we couldn't actually spray paint the walls. But we went in and there was some junk in there, right? I believe when we started.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, we went through and kind of upped that a little bit. So
it was fun.
Trevor,
I mean, every room had, like, you know, stuff that we could play with and just like touch and throw around, like, or I guess that's the bookcase.
The bookcase is the closet. Now the back of the house, downstairs. Now we are cut to. No, actually, that's not even the coffee shop. That's the building next to the coffee shop, right there, underneath the building next to it.
Right.
Remember?
Yep.
Okay. So we're in the building next to the coffee shop. Now we're under the coffee shop here. So 4 locations to get to.
Wow.
Here.
So perfect though.
Coffee shop's getting a lot of pub on the chat.
I hope I hope the coffee shop becomes like a destination now where people want to go to hear stories.
Us too. Regis, what was it like digging in the dirt for treasures?
You had to use quite a bit of imagination. No, it was really interesting because I thought we'd actually find some things, to be honest, because that whole area is so historic in Springfield and so many things have happened. I figured we'd probably find something when they brought out some of the machines and the metal detectors and all that. So it was cool.
No, we hit one artifact though. We got to shut down. It's a good thing we didn't. So.
Isn't the Bell Witch? Didn't that story happen near Springfield?
Yeah, that was what you saw earlier. It was that we have them in. I mean, in the series we had that was a bigger piece, but and the whole Bell Witch started because wasn't it the Native Americans that owned the land before put 4 trinkets or 4 pieces of whatever they were prayer artifact on all 4 corners of the property, and somebody dug one up, and that's what started the Bell Witch.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rumors and things about that. I mean, especially
it's not rumor, Connor. It's all truth.
Right.
True. They even made a documentary about it.
Yeah.
Hey, Eric, what was the town that the house was in? What town? I know it was down there.
I'm
College
trying
Grove.
to remember.
Thompson
Was it
Station.
College
Franklin?
Grove?
I'm going to text D.
Yeah, I forget the actual.
No, send D the link. Get D on here.
Let me ask him the question. I'm going to butter him up with this question, and then I'm going to say,
Trevor,
can you click this link real quick? And
Trevor, what scene's on your computer right now?
Hey, who shot? Hey, I remember we had the scene where they had to go to St. Louis.
oh yeah, Brian
Somebody
Skinner.
was going there, and we were like, "Hey, can you film?"
I'm
St.
pretty sure
Louis?
it was Brian Skinner. At the time was an AC. Now he's a pretty good movie operator, but I think he was going for he was our DIT on that.
Tell Skinner we got a job for him in Rome, Georgia, with David Pogue.
No kidding, right?
He in
He
Georgia?
needs one. He needs a movie operator.
Oh, great! Skinner's the best.
What's your time code, Shan? I'm lost. I hit pause on accident.
I'm Rebecca. They're talking to Rebecca Howard.
47. What?
15.
Oh, I'm on. How about that?
Yeah.
Nice. There's the dark footage right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, cool. So that picture right there with the guy standing, the real tall guy, that's my buddy. We went on a walk with our families at night, and sun was setting, and I was like, "Hey, we were at the air park where it's a abandoned airfield. You can go walk around it in East Nashville." And I just shot him that right there. I shot him just standing in the sunset, and we stretched it to make him look tall.
It's cool.
So his name is Eric Olmstead. His Instagram is Olmstead13.
He's a great dude.
Go stalk him and follow him.
You want to share the name or names of your set decorators? They do a phenomenal job with
They really do.
the colors and the look of these places.
It was Dan Fine was the art director, and I know he had an assistant. I'm trying to remember who it was. This was quite a long time ago, but
Who was it?
we get to that part in the basement too, where they discover something in the wall. He built that wall too.
Wow.
He did a fantastic job. They probably had one of the toughest gigs. You know, we're leaving at 8 hours, but they went and prepped all the stuff for the next day, you know, and put in walls and weird stuff like that. And the bookcase that pulled out, you know, and all that stuff they had to figure out. So I thought she did a great job, that actor.
Yeah, she did. That's one of those locations that was multiple locations. And we did multiple things there. That was we did that was in the backyard of somebody's house. And then we shot that way. And then we shot the orphanage another direction. And then we went in the front and shot Glennis, where you saw the corner of the house to make it look like it was the doctor's office she worked at.
Right.
Like we had a lot of that. That was, I think it was Eric Williams' magic there. Find us places that we could shoot.
Well, it's so interesting, like thinking about that too. Like this house here, I believe we found that house that day. You know, like these houses we shot in. Usually, I'd just go up to people.
Yeah.
People would start noticing us shooting, and I'd go and talk to them and they'd be like, "We're actually looking for a home. Is there any chance we could shoot in your home here in like an hour?" And they were very welcoming. That's Brenda. That's Ken, who you saw earlier. That's his wife.
It's not really a group home for kids.
Yeah, that's actually the same yard where we shot Rebecca Howard. So we shot her over this way, and then we shot this way for the group.
Now I thought of something funny when we were talking about trying to find places to shoot. There was a place a few doors down from the coffee shop. It was like a dressmaker shop or something. It had some offices above it, and we really wanted to shoot there, but they were out of town. But Dee found a way for them to leave the door open before they left town, and we would go in there and shoot. We just had to lock it when we left. So we went in there and shot, and there was a refrigerator running, and the sound guy was like, "I got to turn that refrigerator off." So we turned it off, and then he said he threw his keys in there so he would remember to turn them back on. So we finished the scene, and we're like, "All right, guys, let's move back to the coffee shop and regroup there." So we go out, and I'm like, "Everybody get everything?" Yes. So I lock the door. And so 20 minutes later, Jeremy Mazza, the sound mixer, is walking back, and I'm like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "Oh, I left my keys in there." And I'm like, "That door's locked, and they're in like Vegas or something." And he was like, "Well, I got to get my keys out." So I had Dan Fine taking the door off of the freaking place. That was something I brought him away from the set. I was like, "Dan, I need you over here." We took the hinges off, and right when we got the door off, I'd called Dee. I'm like, "Is there another key?" Blah, blah. As soon as we got the door off, Dee shows up with the key. I mean, while we're standing on Main Street holding a door of the place, I'm like, we're good. We got the door off. So we used the key to unlock it so we can put the door back on. And we got the keys back. But that was quite an exciting afternoon in Springfield.
So if anyone wants an easy B&E, it's Main Street in Springfield, Tennessee.
Yeah, it only took about an hour in broad daylight to get that freaking door off.
Nobody will stop
no
you.
Problem.
Yeah. The bank is at 1306 Main Street.
Did you guys have a lot of discussions or arguments about how to figure out the timeline, or did it kind of make sense right away for you guys?
Arguments.
Yeah.
Shannon,
well, I had laid it out.
No. Shannon is go guy, and there was a huge argument of, "Well, Shannon, we can't go unless we know what the end is." And he's like, "No, we got to leave it vague." I'm like, "Yeah, we leave it vague, but we have to know what the end is." No, we don't need to know what the end is. So there was I
remember that argument. Yeah,
Eric and I were pulling our hair out because we were like, we have to know where this thing ends, even if we don't tell anybody ever. It's our little secret, but we have to know this.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we can't. So there was.
Well, because that was the original discussion about open, because it was a TV series, right? So open ending. How are we going to tie it up?
Yeah.
And then we ended up figuring out how we were going to tie it up, because we wanted to give you something, but I mean, we still don't. We still leave it vague, but we were just having that debate about like if this is going to be a TV show and this works, and because we didn't look at it as a mini series or anything like that. We looked at it as like, oh, this can just keep going, and we have all these other ideas, and we're going to take them on these other journeys, and so, yeah.
This is Ashley Shelton, who is just a phenomenal actor.
And that's the front of the group home / Rebecca Howard's house.
Yeah. Yep. She's great. She did just a phenomenal job in this.
Yeah. When she started crying, I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh, she's so good. I love seeing her last name is Williams. That's my last name. I've seen everyone's last name in this. The last person they interviewed was Lassiter. Matt Lassiter was the other writer. I guess that was our easy way to get clear.
Yeah. Mike Shambam is one of our editors is Shambam, and Bart Houchins is Rebecca Howard's lawyer.
Right.
There was a lot of people.
Shannon, you've had your last name in a lot of stuff because you were.
I didn't put my name as Still the King. You did that.
Still the King. When the girl's walking out of the room, she's Sheriff Houchins' daughter.
That's right.
Who's actually my wife.
You guys did that and didn't tell me till I saw it.
Yeah.
So Regis was always there. You asked these questions too, didn't you?
Yeah. You
were there. Like you were asking And that was the thing. Like, so we would have days. It was just like Justin, where he's the cameraman and he's just kind of following along, and he's not even on camera. Or Reese is there just to be behind the camera to ask the questions. So
she was
a lot of that too.
She was so good too. She sold this.
She's great.
Yeah. And it was interesting. I'm trying to remember the timelines with all the different characters when we were going through those monologues. This happened to Sarah Winston at this time, and then trying to put it all in order, and then you're shooting on different days. So it's kind of you kind of piecing all that together. That was interesting from an acting standpoint. That was really interesting as well.
I love this.
That's another reason. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that photograph I remember was a big deal because we were about to shoot it. We realized we didn't actually have the clearance for it.
Yeah, right.
And
I think we did a lot of that.
We did a lot of that, and then we did finally get to clear it. But I remember there was a lot of, wait, do we have clearance for this thing? Dan finally.
Well, we did that when we went back to edit it. We kept calling you all the time. Like, you're 2.5 years removed from the job, and we're calling you going like, so what is this somebody we get? And you're like, okay, yeah, that's good. We had cleared everything.
Yeah. We learned our lesson on Still the King season 1 when we didn't clear half the stuff until over the summer. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, Chris Conner had to come and tell me that news.
That was pretty tough.
We fixed it.
Yeah, we fixed it. They fixed it. Julie Leidy, another unsung hero.
Yeah.
With that, she was basically the production coordinator for this. She did a lot of work on this, and she's moved on to a lot of. I think she does a lot of Lifetime movies and stuff now.
She's on a show in Atlanta right now. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a big UPM and production manager.
Be curious to see if she and all of us have work starting next week.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll see.
The timing between the show that we did, all of us together, and this project starting, it was actually a pretty small window. So it was kind of great because we could just kind of roll from one thing to the next. I mean, it was also difficult because we were still wrapping the show because it had finished. But yeah, it was nice to be able to just kind of keep the pace that we had with that crew and move everybody in.
Yeah, I think we still had all the props in our warehouse from Still the King.
We did.
And we set up the writer's room out in the warehouse too, in that corner.
That's right.
And those props were just on the other side of the building.
Question for Regis and Justin. How was catering? Was it boxed lunches in a sandwich bag, or because you live locally, did they tell you to stop by the local Whataburger or McDonald's?
Is that question from John Sewell?
Oh wow.
We ate at the coffee shop.
That's right. I was hoping you were going to say it, Regis. We ate at Historic Park every day we were in Springfield, except for maybe once or twice we ate at the fancier restaurant.
The fancy restaurant.
Wasn't there that one day? Was there like a food truck or something? Was that one of the day? Was there one day with that? Or am I forgetting?
If it was, I didn't get invited to that.
Like at the house. Oh, I don't remember. I think like tacos. I don't remember.
It was mostly a coffee shop, though. I tell you that.
Yeah, but what did we eat when we were at the house? When we were out at the land?
I think I had lunch brought in.
It was catered. Yeah, there were tables and chairs, and it was catered. Yeah.
Okay.
So you got fancy then. All right.
Well, we didn't have a coffee shop nearby. It was in the middle of nowhere. Otherwise, I would have made them had a turkey sandwich every day and a cup of coffee.
I keep hitting pause on this thing. Damn it.
Did you
You need
pause
the time code?
Yeah, what do you got?
It's 59, 16, 17, 18, 19.
I'm like 2 minutes off. Got it.
Do you have any other questions?
The actress that plays Regis's wife, talk about her. She does a great job for the little bit we see her in this film.
Regis, you want to take that because you worked with her longer than everybody did.
Yeah. Lacey. Her last name is Lacey. I'm trying to think the first name.
It's Shira.
Shira Lacey. Yeah, it was really cool working with her because she came into it. I think we've been shooting already like maybe 10 days or so. I'm trying to think when we shot with her. It was something like that, Shannon. It was maybe we had already been working for at least 10 days or so.
Yeah, I feel like it. Yeah,
but she came on ready to go. She was
Shira Lacey.
Yeah, she was ready to go. She knew the character, and we had some discussions. And I said, "Hey, just bounce off me, whatever you want to do." And we just kind of, because I'm really open like that, and she was too, and that made it really kind of work chemistry-wise because we just really didn't want to over-rehearse it because it is kind of you're kind of trying to be real and make it authentic as possible, but at the same time, kind of have some things in mind that we want to get in there. So yeah,
it'd be a good time to mention that Kim Petrosky was the casting director on this. She did Still the King for us. She's done a lot of things throughout the years. And she just found wonderful people. I just checked back. She found Emily, Shira Lacey. She found the cop. She found both cops. Just some interesting people that really helped flesh it out. Again, we leaned on real people a lot, but for something like this, we wanted an actor. So Shira did a great job.
And another interesting thing, I knew Shira from the community, but I had never worked with her. Jeremy, I knew going back to Jeremy Childs. Jeremy and I worked in several projects, but we never got a chance to work together. This was our first time getting a chance to work together. So that was wonderful too.
And I just looked at the sheet. I pulled up the cast sheet, the credit sheet, and there were 92 people in this.
Yeah,
92
on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot. And a lot of it was Kim, but a lot of it was Eric finding man on street.
Yeah, it was probably about 15 casted people, I believe. And then everything else would be word of mouth and just randomly asking people. Like that guy earlier, Loren, when you were talking about the guy in the guy in the beard and I think he talks about aliens a little bit and other stuff. He was just literally walking by and I was like, "Excuse me, sir. Could you come over here for a second? You want to be on a TV show?" He's like, "Sure." Yeah. It was super fun too to just find interesting people and throw them on camera 5 seconds later.
We were talking about.
Did you guys get to do a screening for this for those people?
I think COVID basically.
Yeah.
So we finished it. We were so behind, and we had a release date we were trying to hit. I guess it wouldn't come out March, and it was just. I mean, because we had started O. Henry too, so because Ed and I were still in there, Potsy, finishing.
Yeah, every day.
And you were already out on set on Old Henry, and I'd go to the office, and you'd go to set. You were prepping, and we were still finishing it up. So this went into December, I believe, or maybe even in January, and we shot Old Henry mid-November into early December. So both of these things were going on. So it was, and then we came right back from Christmas and went in and started tweaking, doing all the Old Henry tweaks. And so it was just everything on top of everything. And so we just didn't have time. And it was COVID. It was bad timing to do that anyway. We had
got it.
They have
it's like that house
movie theater.
It's like that housewarming you always want to have that you maybe have a year and a half later.
Yeah. Well, look, hey, it's something else because Trevor, you can unmute. So I haven't even been able to keep up with and I don't think Potsy has either. I don't even know what the response has been to Howard's Mill. We have been on the one thing onto the next. And Trevor says, "Hey, have you ever went into Twitter and just searched Howard's Mill?" And I said, "No, I haven't." And so I did it today, and the response has been great on this thing. I didn't realize that we had so many people that loved it, and so it's like, wow, because we hadn't really had time to take a breath and go "Hey, what do people think?" Now, Old Henry's kind of a different thing because it's kind of been in our face a little bit more, with Venice and with the release and all the stuff we've been doing around that. But this was kind of just like, hey, we've been working on this for 4 years. We need to go ahead and get it out. We got it out, but we're in the middle of this other movie. And just today, I pulled it up after Trevor said it a few hours ago. I was like, wow, that's a good one. I didn't see any battle. I was like, that's great. That's great. I mean, so, and even the people are realizing, hey, this is not a real documentary. Like I think so many people, and I would see a few. It's like, oh, I'll watch this, and it's not real. But I would say 95% of them are like, hey, it's not real, but like it's great how they delivered it to me, which was what our attention. Like we weren't trying to trick anybody. We just we're trying to make the experience more enjoyable by if you know that something's not it's gonna give you a different feeling if you go into it feeling like it's real, because I think we go to movies now that we love and franchises we love, and we just are so used to getting fed the same thing over and over again, and that I won't say we're jaded to it. We're just kind of numb to it. First, we really go to these movies and these experience and how it affects us emotionally, and we felt like the only way to keep that in and get people in was to present it in that way. And so we didn't really look at this as like we were telling a story. We could just as easily made this into a fully scripted, blown out movie, right? But we thought like, oh, this is just a different way to deliver a narrative and an idea that we had in this manner. And I'm glad we get to talk about it now, because for so long we were just, and that was the other thing, like, how do you do press on Howard's Mill? It's different. Oh, Henry, because everybody knows, they know the Westerns. Now, we didn't mean for this to feel like it's real, but it didn't. It prevented us a little bit from how we really talked about it, and we couldn't do things like this. And I think that's what's great, and just being able to get, even if you went to the IMDb's, like there was no credits up there, and now everybody that was in this movie, people are like, oh, these are actors. Like, I'd like to work with these guys, and so it was just something different to do in a world where we kind of keep seeing the same thing over and over again. But it's good to look online now and see, wow, people actually like it, and they're not pissed off at us because they think we tried to trick them. So, Trevor, do you want to speak on your Twittering today?
Yeah, no, that was all. I was just I threw Howard's Mill into a Twitter search just to see if it was getting any sort of mentions at all. And it was getting consistent messages. How long has it been out? So I was like,
I think March.
Yeah. So I was like, 6-7 months later, it's like still getting consistent mentions, and mostly positive. So I was like, that's cool. So isn't it doing well on Tubi?
It did really well out the box, I know, on iTunes. And then for about 2 weeks, I think we were number one. And then Tubi, we were like, for 2.5 months, it was number one. So, which was great. So it did good there. I don't know when we're going to get a check or anything, but nobody sent us any money or anything for that. So I don't know what that means. But,
what are you watching? What are you watching over there?
Well, you may want to turn it up here, because the voice of the diver is someone I recognize. So just saying.
There's Eric
I
Williams.
think I was like wearing the thing like around the corner when we were shooting it or something, and using a radio, or I was doing something like that with a radio. I can't remember. But anyway, I'm gonna listen to it now. So
if Katie is still out there and she wants to ask who the voice of the diver is, feel free.
How do people ask questions on this thing? Where do you type those?
Would Katie like to come on and explain? So people that are watching on YouTube, on Twitch, or Facebook now can actually post the questions, and then it'll be on the interwebs forever and ever. I feel like if I don't turn up my volume, Eric's gonna be so sad. Did I miss your big voiceover scene, Eric?
no, it's coming right now.
It's gonna be so anticlimactic now because you pulled this.
There it is. Yeah, I think that's me playing T. Roy's voice.
Oh, T. Roy, that's right.
I say human remains. We have human, something like that.
Where remains.
Trying to watch it here.
And this was great, Regis. This is a really good scene for you too. Like even the reaction too when they say it remains. Like you take the deep breath and everything.
Top side, we have remains. My moment.
Thank you.
You want to talk over it?
Let's let Eric talk over it. Go ahead, Eric.
I'm happy to do a dramatic reading of it again right now. Floating the buoy. Ooh, that's a good one. Sounds like I know what I'm talking about.
There it is. There's the breath.
Well,
2 people played T. Roy in this movie. The real guy and then me.
With apologies to Regis and Justin, let's raise a glass to Eric's first and possibly last time as a voiceover.
Last time
on a motion picture.
I actually squeezed myself into Still the King as well, which is
that's very true. Everyone was in that.
I think everybody did, didn't they?
I got a
Everyone
3
was
cent
in that.
residual check for that the other day.
I was in that.
You were in it sweeping up, and then weren't you somewhere else?
I was sweeping up, and then oh god, where else was I?
You never gave yourself a line, though, did you?
Oh no, I'm not an actor. Come on,
That's $1,000.
you got $1,000 for that?
Yeah, for that one scene with John Sewell, it was like $1,000. And then
There's a guy, John Sewell. That's a man that.
Oh, on Still the King.
On Still the King, yeah. On this, it was you got a turkey sandwich from the
Someone
store.
we did that had a budget.
Yeah.
You got a T-shirt from the coffee shop?
Maybe. Whoa, that's like $20.
Lauren, do you have any other questions?
No, not at all. I don't see any up here on the feed whatsoever. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, I do. Katie wants to know the name of the coffee shop if anybody wants to jump in.
That's the only question?
What coffee shop?
It's the only appropriate on-topic question I have.
I feel like there's.
What are the off-topic ones?
I feel like
Fine,
there's another.
I'll show you the off-topic one. Fine. Barbara Brown Sugar says, "Hi, it's Mom. You're the best." So thank you, Mom. That's it.
I'm on the YouTube link here, and I'm seeing other questions. I don't know.
You are. Oh wait. Hold on. I accidentally blocked this person. Here we go.
Oh wow!
Is that the famous
Boy, I hope
Italian director, Potsy Ponciroli?
I hope this was worth it.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Would
amazing.
anybody like to respond?
Nope.
Shannon, you want to tell us about Dasta Crew? Shannon got his start in outside of Atlanta, and he was in Valdosta, Georgia. He was in a rap group called Dasta Crew.
That was dope too. I'm just letting y'all know.
I'm just letting y'all know.
Who has the
What
T-shirt
era
of it? Doesn't somebody have a T-shirt of it?
No, everybody at the office found out about it probably 2010, 2011, and we would have our end-of-year company meetings, and we'd always give something away, and I didn't know what we were giving away that year, and our head of marketing reaches into a box at the end of the 2 days of sitting in a conference room, and it was Dasta Crew T-shirts that they had figured out my backstory and brought it to the present.
Wow.
You can't hide from your past, Shan.
Oh, look at that.
There it is. Yes.
Whoa.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me make this full screen. Hold on.
That's not Bill Biv DeVoe.
Wow.
Wait, which one are you?
He's on the
Which
right.
one is Shannon?
He's
I'm
on the
pointing
right.
at it like you guys can see me point at it.
He's half holding his crotch.
Would it be wrong if I can't unsingle the shot of Trevor for the rest of the,
Please
the
don't.
watch party?
Can you zoom into what his glasses are seeing? Because I don't think he's watching baseball.
But Shannon, it's not like you just started a rap group out of left field. I mean, you started your career working in raps with like TLC and Usher and Jagged Edge.
This was before that. This was out of left field. This was
that was the beginning.
Yeah.
And then I got signed as a producer to Jermaine Dupri's company, So Dev. That kind of got me in the game, producing music. And then I produced a ton of people. And then I started my own music production company. And our artist, Bubba Sparks, and we went out and we had like a big bidding war with that. And he landed at Interscope and did that. And then was like, okay, I'm going to start a label. And we started Average Joe's like 2006. And then Hideout kind of spawned out of that because we were just shooting a ton of videos and we were just making content. And then we started making like webisodes and we're like, all right, we can make short form, we can make long form. And then we went and shot Potsy's first movie, Super Zeros. And then after that we did Still the King. So it was just kind of this progression of, going, just building off of one thing, building off the next thing and just learning and figuring it out,
Super Zeros is available on iTunes and Amazon and is completely politically incorrect as of 2021.
I believe if you buy the soundtrack for Super Zeros, you get the movie for free.
You do. That's the bargain.
How we released it.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. If you buy the soundtrack, you get the movie.
You get the movie for free. Bonus feature in the movie.
Shannon, so we want to know, what was your first car and what kind of music were you listening to in said first car, like high school?
I mean, I just listened to hip hop. I was listening to old Run DMC and Houdini and stuff like that. What was my first car? My first car was a Subaru XT Coupe. It was like it just came out. It was like Starship Blue.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just trying to get a mental picture of you listening to these classic rap groups and rappers in a Subaru. Just trying to put that picture together in my head.
It was a cool Subaru. Look, you can go like Trevor, me, Chris.
No such thing as a cool Subaru.
You're not gonna beat Trevor, Chris, or I in hip hop trivia. Oh.
I put hip hop trivia.
80s and 90s. Now I would lose miserably, but 80s and 90s, I got you.
So we go on our road trips, and the three of us sit in the car. We have fun.
We're like that scene in CB4. Where I'm like, I'm DMC.
This house, this house was in College Grove.
Okay.
And I said, thanks. We're doing a little Q&A for Howard's Mill on Film Threat. And he said,
That's it?
That's all I said, yeah.
Tell D to get on here. We got to talk to him. Here, let me.
Tell him we want to know the name of the coffee shop. See if he knows.
Eric, will you email him the link, E-Dubs?
Yeah.
I'm going to text him right now.
Okay.
By the way, Springfield is not an easy town to get to. So that's going to be a long haul to get to that coffee shop.
We went there every day, too.
All right, here's Dan Fine's handiwork here. This wall that wasn't here when we got there.
Message. Oh, yeah.
Right. They're getting in. They're getting in. They're going to make a little space. Who do you guys think they're going to ask to crawl through said little space? Justin, you want to take this one?
It's coming. It's coming. Almost there. Almost there. Oh, there he is. There it is. There I go.
Does that count as the stunt? Is that your stunt scene?
Yes.
Kaiser was very abusive to her partner, Charlie. It's like, where's something dangerous? Who's going to do this? Charlie. We'll get Charlie to do it. Climb through the window, Charlie. Climb in that hole. This skeleton up here, that I feel like that was half our budget.
It was
that was half our budget.
It was. We shipped it in
Really?
from Los Angeles. Yep. It was very expensive.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. It wasn't really half our budget, but it was expensive. That we used it twice. It was
the skeleton's probably been in some big movies too. If I could get the resume of that skeleton.
Where is it right now? Because I'm
we
decorating.
used it twice.
We used it.
Yeah, we used it for the body in the lake and for.
All right.
This, yeah.
Those birds, by the way, were not stock footage. That was actual. We caught that. Pretty impressed with that.
Not bad. There's a lot of animals. I saw a woodpecker, a cricket in this movie.
Yeah, we don't buy stock footage.
Grasshopper.
A little grasshopper, yeah.
Have you guys been cross promoting your this movie with your music fans or vice versa?
Did we cross promote? What was that? Sorry. My wife just texted me that the light bulb's out upstairs. So,
my question was if you've done any cross promotion between your music world and your feature film / episodic world.
Yes, we like they said earlier with Super Zeros, we did the soundtrack, and we we did the whole time together, and on Old Henry, Eddie Montgomery from the band Montgomery Gentry did the song for the album, and then we put out actually 2 soundtracks for Old Henry. There's like an original music soundtrack, which is like an EP. It's 6 songs. Eddie's song is the only one that's in the movie. It's in the end credits, and then there's the Jordan's original score, which is a separate album. So. The
score is amazing, by the way. Yeah. Jordan killed that thing.
Yeah, they did. So, but everything is good because everything kind of drafts off of each other, and we're able to, because look, we have more access on the music side because we've been doing that longer, right, to fans. So if we can figure out a reason, like we can't just spam them with, "Hey, Hideout made a movie," and somebody has signed up for a music, list, right? Email list. So we have to have a reason to do that. So if we put a song in there, we can market them the music, and they're like, "Oh, what's this from? Oh, this movie Old Henry. Here you go." So it's a great and it's a great thing to have that a lot of other filmmakers don't have access to. Where we're able to just we can pretty much jumpstart anything because we have these pre-existing databases that we built, and now we're starting to build the Hideout one. So. Because everything doesn't cross, into everything doesn't have a music component. I'm sitting with this movie that we're about to start shooting next month. I've been just sitting around thinking about what's the tie-in, and I can't figure one out. So there probably won't be, because it's got to feel organic. It can't feel like it's forced.
Got it.
Hey, Eric D said he didn't get the link.
I sent it to him.
D says you're a liar.
Hang on.
D used the word liar.
Tell him to check now.
So just in case people don't know, because I know you've been talking about Still the King and Old Henry. Old Henry is a Western starring Tim Blake Nelson, who I think is a great character actor. So can you talk a little bit about that movie, and then also a little bit about Still the King, so then we can cross promote your other projects. Oh, wait, hold on a second. We've got a new panelist coming on.
It's D.
And we have a question.
Yeah.
Just in time. Katie wants to know the name of the coffee shop. Hopefully Jeremy will be able to help.
I'll have to look through the emails and figure it out. Can't recall.
So, Shannon, if you want to talk about either of those while Jeremy comes on, or wait a second, but I'd certainly love to know a little bit more about these 2 projects and where we can watch them now.
Which projects? The new ones?
So
Still the king and old
Henry.
Shannon. God, Shannon is checked out.
No, I'm here. We changed.
All right, let's
change subject.
let's bring on.
We got Jeremy.
Here, let's
Childs.
bring on Jeremy.
So
Do we have
you
Jeremy?
can't say anything about my lighting, look at Jeremy's lighting.
All right, I'll take him back off until he figures this out.
He might be in the car. He was out tonight, and so he may be in the car or somewhere quiet.
All right.
So still the king
Yeah.
was on CMT, Nick at Night. What else? But it went 2 seasons and now it's over. I don't think you can find it anymore.
Yeah,
I don't know where it is.
It's on Amazon and on Vudu.
It is on Amazon.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Okay. And then what am I here? I'm doing myself. I don't think you can find it.
Somebody
Somebody
turn their volume up.
Hello.
That was,
right.
that was me. Sorry.
Old Henry just came out. It was in theaters, select theaters across the country. Still is in a few theaters, and it's on Amazon, iTunes. We're actually the number 2 movie on iTunes right now. We were number 1 over the weekend, but I think we got beat by
Free guy Ryan Reynolds.
The man Ryan Reynolds. Yeah.
He's relentless.
That guy. He's so charismatic.
What are the log lines for Old Henry and Still the King?
Still the King and One Hit Wonder. Crashes a bread truck into a church. Has to lie his way out of that one and ends up becoming the new preacher. Meanwhile, he discovers he has a daughter he never knew he had in the same town. And so he has to kind of acclimate to that new life. It's a very broad comedy. So half the writers were actually actors. And then Old Henry is Tim Blake Nelson at his finest. It's Tim Blake Nelson plays Henry, this farmer who lives out in the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma, 1906, and he has a son. He's kind of keeping his son from the modern world, so trying to raise him away from his sins of his past. And one day he finds a wounded man, brings him in, and that's when trouble comes knocking on his door, and you kind of find out there's more to Henry than he's letting on. So.
All right.
But then,
cool. Well, definitely want to check those out. So let's see if we have Jeremy on.
Jeremy, can you hear us?
Come towards the light.
This is like back in the 80s when they were setting up a Phil Donahue special between Russian kids and American kids.
Phil Donahue. Wow.
I loved Phil Donahue. I was a huge fan.
Do we have Jeremy on the line?
I wish you did, because this really good scene is in here now.
Oh, right here, yeah.
With Jeremy and Regis, and which is the one scene that we actually shot. We turned around on. It's the one scene that actually feels like it's a scripted thing. But they did a great job shooting it.
Is that Jeremy calling to tell somebody he can't log in? Wait, hold on. I'm seeing movement.
Jeremy Childs, everybody. Can you guys hear him?
No.
Thank you, Daydream Boy, for checking in on Twitch. Thanks for watching.
There he is. Oh, look. It's a very interesting solution.
Technology, man.
Jeremy,
Incredible.
You're seeing. I think I paused again. Damn it! We saw your scene in the prison, which was amazing.
I'm surprised that the scene between Jeremy and Glennis though did not make the final cut, did it?
We did not.
it didn't make
Hell of a
sense
scene.
in the movie version.
And that was a great scene too. She cried in that scene.
Oh, man.
I mean, they both like killed it in that scene, and
it
just didn't work because it felt repetitive. And we also realized that, hey, this isn't the TV show anymore, and it's not Glynis's story, it's Dwight's story, and we felt like by going back there that we were taking the focus off of, the movie completely became, Dwight's, story and POV. So
Jeremy, tell us your thoughts on this movie.
Not really hearing Jeremy. Can you turn them up?
Hold on, let me try. Hold on, Jeremy. You guys got to hear him out of my ear. How's this?
Hello, can you hear me?
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, here we go. You go ahead, Jeremy.
I remember that day at the jail really well because there were some guys that had just gotten released that had spent some time, and they walked up to me and patted me on the back. It's like, "You getting out or you going in? How long you been here?" I'm just shooting stuff. It's like, who'd you shoot? I'm like, yeah, we're shooting like a documentary movie thing. He goes, are you gonna have to go to prison for it? Actually a convict. Then why are you here? Because you're shooting. They didn't really got it, but they were there for me if I needed them. So that really stuck up. And, that scene you cut, that was my favorite scene in the movie. I really enjoyed that. I connected with her. I'd never met her before, and she was right there for me, man, the whole time. And, it was easy to sort of. Yeah. How's it been going?
It's been going good.
Good. I've been trying to get in, but I've had a hard time. I'm in Calhoun, Georgia, doing a convention tomorrow, and it's like.
He's in that show, please.
Oh, we lost you, Jerry. Hold on.
I
This
guess
is like that old Phil Donahue show where you
Back to Phil Donahue.
It's good to come to see everybody.
Yeah, you see,
Jeremy.
Good to see you.
Justin, let me get you in there.
There he is.
There you are.
There he is. How you doing, Reeves?
What's going on?
What do you say, Potsy?
I can hear.
What you saying, Jeremy? Say it one more time.
So tonight's the big official reveal.
I think, people are figuring it out on their own, but tonight is a reveal. Anyway, we're almost. Where are we at? What's the time code again? Where are we at? We got to be close to
the end. It's like 2 minutes left.
132.35, Potsy. 132.37.
132.37. There we go. You came right in time, Jeremy Childs. Right in time.
How'd you guys find Jeremy for this role?
Jeremy has been on. He's been in just about everything we've done from early. There's an unreleased movie that Blake McClure and I did. This was years and years. This was probably 15, 20 years ago. Blake and I, we each threw in $5,000 and we did this movie called Happy and Dead. That nobody's ever seen it.
I produced it.
Yeah.
My job as a Blockbuster Video store manager to do it.
Yeah, Eric Williams quit his job.
Jeremy,
he was.
I tell you what, you want to see how really connected it is. The guy who plays.
Hold on. Yeah, we were shooting at the old castle, right?
It was really cold, and all the scenes, we were doing the scene inside, and you could see my breath. And so to resolve it, you guys kept giving me cups of ice to put in my mouth and spit it out.
Cuts the cold breath out, yeah.
So here's an interesting thing about Happy and Dead is Jesse James. Jesse James Leclerc, who plays he plays Sarah's dad in Howard's Mill.
Roger Winston.
He plays Roger Winston. So in Happy and Dead, we cast Jesse James as the lead, And then Jeremy Childs became available. And my first job as a producer was to fire Jesse James. And now they're both in this show. So it worked out okay.
They were both in Still the King pilot.
I think my favorite moment of Jeremy Childs was in Still the King when I made him dress up like a powdered donut. So, Super Zeros. Sorry,
Zeros. Yeah.
He had to be half naked in head to toe powder. One of the best moments.
So as we see the credits roll by,
none of our names.
Again, this was a really great film, and it looks like you got the support of a lot of people in the town.
Yeah, those are all fake people.
They are.
Everything's fake. All the credits are fake. And then
none of our names are in the credits. It's amazing.
And then we have then there's the post-credit scene that comes up.
No.
Which was shot during
Potsy pause again, or
we shot this when we were editing. Actually, we were doing Old Henry, and we had to go
making Old Henry at the time.
Yeah, Justin came out and to do the scene where he shot the camera, set the camera up. And then we went out here and did this, and you never see anything the first two times you shows the cams, and then of course in this one, boom, that's my son. So, which I had to talk him into doing that. And he didn't know why he had to be in his underwear in the middle of a field. But he did it.
I'm sure he still doesn't.
Yeah. No, actually, he had never had tidy whities before. And that was his first, because I had to go get those because we needed it to be white so it would stand out. And now that's all he wants to wear. So,
in 20 years, when he's talking to his therapist, this is going to be the reason.
I love it. The only real name in the credits is Governor Bill Lee.
Yeah. There is a version that we did. It's got an awesome ending. Awesome. The credits. We have a great song in there. It's boom. Everything's hitting to the beat. It feels great. But like when we got down to it, and they were having the marketing conversations, they were like, if we're gonna do this and we're gonna present this the right way, we can't do it. We need people talking, going, was it real? It wasn't, and people arguing about it. So we didn't. So I'm hoping at some point down the road, we load that version up now, and get that one up there. And it's good too. Like if you go on iTunes right now, and it now has the credits right. It's got starring Regis and Josephina and Jeremy and Jesse James. It's got people's names on here, and Justin as well. And so it's good. It's starting to populate, and hopefully we'll get that other version up with all the real credits that kick in after the post-credit scene on the original edit. So cool.
Wonderful. All right. So I have a question I'm trying to figure out. So I'm expecting Emily to appear 10 years after her disappearance, but so would that be, is it 2023 or am I off for when, at least in this world?
No, it'd be 2027 because it takes place. The whole thing starts in 2017, right? Or does it start off in 13? I don't know. It's been a long time.
That's right.
27, right? So 27,
28. It was right after Still the King. So that's right.
All right. So if you were going to do a sequel, you could certainly cover her appearance, but also the backstory on your son all of a sudden appearing. So was the idea you might do a prequel or a sequel to this?
Well, when it was a TV show, we had a second season, concept, right? And it was going to be with the with Dwight and Detective Bobby Latta, who do not like each other, right? In this, realizing that maybe where Dwight's realizing that, at the end, well, I'm not even sure. I thought Wayne did it, but I'm not sure. And then they kind of team up because obviously Latta and Wayne are cousins, and they go on this journey to figure it out. And it has a lot to do with the triangles and other places, and it kind of ties into the Bermuda Triangle. And but we did that last post-credit thing last minute because it was the same thing. It was trying to give the audience something, and And so we were like, okay, we gave them this whole aliens creating time travel, scenario. But we also just kind of left it vague, and maybe it was Wayne or whatever. And we thought, like, okay, if we set up these security cameras and tease it throughout, and then they see it at the end, they're like, oh shit, and it was time travel. It wasn't Wayne. And so that's why we just, when we got to the movie version, we're like, we need to figure out a way to wrap it up. And that's how we the best we could do it,
Season 3 is Wayne breaks out of jail, comes back, kills all the people that made the movie. So Regis is dead, Justin's dead, like all these, everyone dies.
Trevor dies too.
Trevor dies first.
That's pretty good.
And does he do it from a phone? Is that, I'm assuming this we just see him through a phone the entire time.
It's called Howard's Mill 3. Howard's Mill 3, The Revenge of Phonehead.
That's Potsy in Italy there.
I want to thank Katie for joining us and asking a very pertinent question about the coffee shop. Also, before we go, I'd love to know what kind of projects y'all are working on. I know we've touched on Old Henry and Still the King, but let's start with Regis. What projects are out now that we can see you in, or anything coming up?
Okay, let's see. November 26th, Christmas in Tune on Lifetime. I have a film called Forgiven that just came out with Kevin Sorbo. So that one's available also on all the streaming formats. And what is it? I got like 2 or 3 other ones. And then someone must skip. Silo. Silo is the other film that's out right now that you can see me in right now.
Awesome. Do your parents have anything they'd like to promote since they join you this evening?
They are promoting the bed right now because they got
Well, thank you for having for coming on and bringing your parents with us. Let's go to Eric. Any new voiceover projects we should look out for?
I'm just waiting for Potsy to write my next part, and I'm looking forward to that. No, I did do a movie called Summering over the summer that James Ponsoldt directed. He did The Spectacular Now and End of the Tour. So that's going to be really cool. Okay, I was the first AD on that. So that comes out next year, Sony.
Very, very cool. Justin, I know you've done
next.
Are you on a Halloween movie or not?
Yeah, just waiting for my deal memo.
Okay. That's what I'll do tomorrow.
Okay, great.
That's just it.
Very cool. Let's move over to Justin. I know you've used to do live theater, so do you have any live theater projects coming up since things are starting to open up, or any TV or movies?
Well, there's something that I shot with Frank Langella called Lapham Rising. And that movie has Bobby Cannavale and some others. And I do not know when that's coming out, but that is in the works to come out, I assume, in the next year or 2.
What's the title again?
Nice.
Lapham Rising.
Cool.
Very nice. Let's see. We've got Jeremy. Jeremy, what do you got coming up? What can we see you in next?
I have a series that is coming out called Preach, not to be confused with Preacher. It's called Preach, and that comes out this fall. It's going to be on like 200 plus Fox affiliate stations. And that's going to be out in a few weeks. I haven't got an official date yet, but I will shoot it to all my folks as soon as I know. But we're excited about that one because it's a little engine that could. I've got a film called Squat that I made with my brother and Joshua Childs and one of our best friends, Chris Cunningham, that we're really pumped about. That is just about done. We're about ready to lock that one. I have a series called The Good Lord Bird that's out right now. It's an Ethan Hawke Western. I'm in the heavy and second episode. Steve Zahn and I. And I'm really pumped about that. And it's a lot of people haven't seen it, so I'm always trying to push that one. And probably other things that I totally forgot about until I click off this phone.
Very cool. Thank you. Potsy, since you're there with Jeremy, what do you got coming up?
I'm we partnered on a film with Rough House, Danny McBride's company. So we're in the casting phase of that, and then I have another one. It's a true story in Texas of a 70s jailbreak in Mexico, where it used to be illegal that if you went to Mexico and broke somebody out of jail and didn't hurt anybody in the process, it was totally legal. So back in the 70s, this actually happened. It's a true story, and the script's amazing. So we're in the beginning stage of that one too. So couple projects coming up. So
I'm digging all the different projects you guys are working on. Sounds like a lot of cool stuff. Trevor, I don't think I got to you yet.
We're in we're in the third season of a music documentary series called Music's Greatest Mysteries that we're in pre-production on. We have a project at A&E, so we'll see what happens there, and then I'll let Shannon decide what else we can reveal on the
just say a lot more development.
Yeah, a lot more development.
I don't know if we can reveal anything, you know.
Yeah, but then there's a bunch of feature stuff that's really exciting, and I don't want to talk about it, so it's like here forever if it doesn't happen.
No worries. And the hopefully the point is to share some things that are already out, so then we can follow some of the stuff you've already done. Chris, what about you?
Well, Hideout's working with a former Disney animator that we're friends with on a movie called Pencil Test about the art of 2D animation. Hopefully it'll be out this year. And in January, I think I'm going to be doing a comedy special with a friend of mine who has a comedy band called the Cleverleys. I think he's going to try to record a live special in January, so I may help with that. And just in general, a couple other features that they're talking about coming to. We get a lot of calls now from television series and features that are coming into our market and want to shoot here. So I'm talking to a couple different people right now about their projects, but yeah, it should be a good rest of the year and going into 2022.
Awesome. Thank you. And then lastly, before we go, this is open to anybody on the panel. Favorite album from the 80s or 90s that the kids today really need to listen to?
Dosta Crew, for one.
Maybe I was setting you up to say that, but
Jeremy said Concrete Blonde. Bloodletting.
Bloodletting. All right.
Shannon, because Shannon's so into hip hop, I will go with Me Against the World.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
From the 80s?
He said
80s or 90s.
He said 80s or 90s. He said 80s or 90s.
Okay. Paul's Boutique, Beastie Boys.
It's a good one.
And I will throw a curveball. Ghost of a Dog, Edie Brickell and New Bohemians.
Wow. All right. Anybody else? It's all right if you don't have an album. I was going to go with the Muppet Show past album, but that's 77, so that doesn't count. But I still love it.
Copperhead Road.
What do you say?
Copperhead Road.
Oh, Steve Earle. Yeah.
Nice. Eric, did you have one?
All I listened to in the 80s was the Back to the Future soundtrack, so that's
nothing wrong with that.
That's it.
Well, awesome. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on the Film Threat Watch Party for Howard's Mill. We're going to be back on November 5th for Brewmance. Keep watch on our Facebook page and on filmthreat.com for more watch parties coming up. Thank you to my panelists for joining me on a Friday evening. I really appreciate this. It's a great movie and so many awesome things about it. It's definitely worth multiple viewings just to make sense of time travel, which never makes sense no matter how much you explain it. So thank you guys for joining us this evening. Bye, everyone.
Good to see everyone.